Canada, January 8th. So there seems to be some confusion and consternation about the two bills that Leslyn Lewis has brought forth. E4401 to sign out of the WHO's pandemic accord. That's closed now. There is E4623, again by Leslyn Lewis, to get out of the UN and international organizations. Now, this is causing quite the hullabaloo. The mainstream media is presenting it as, oh, we need the UN. They're the world's peacekeepers. They quit being the world's peacekeepers quite some time ago. And it is indisputable that they are they're partners with the WHO and the WEF, the IMF, etc. That's beyond refutation. So let's get into E4623, the international organizations in the UN. Canada's agreement to participate in the UN/WHO Comprehensive Agenda 2030 undermines national sovereignty and personal autonomy. That's in Leslyn Lewis's bill. Well, it sure does. Step back a second to the WHO's pandemic accord. If you want to know more about that, simply Google on YouTube Dr. John Campbell, where he's talking to James Roguski, or Google James Roguski directly. Probably the world's authority on tearing into this WHO treaty, which I have read at length, and it is some scary stuff. Let's step back over to 4623, the international organizations in the UN, because their sustainable development goals, they've condensed it into SDGs, because it sounds a little more innocuous. Only some of the points. And don't forget, this is directly out of the WHO's pandemic accord, via the UN in this case. Some of the things. I mean, they want everything from the sky to the sea. They're the ground. Anyways, religious and cultural values, family relations, education, nutrition, child development, property rights, economic and agricultural productivity. This will all be under the WHO's internationally binding law as enforced by the UN. I'll beat that up a little bit in the summation, but it goes on. After all of the aforementioned, ending with economic and agricultural productivity, it gives them, I'll just say, transportation, travel, health, informed consent, privacy, physical autonomy. That's right, all under the WHO's internationally binding law as enforced by the UN, you see. Yes, they're the foot soldiers to enforce, well, what they say are your property rights, agricultural productivity, etc. How you liking it so far? Yeah, so you might want to sign petition E4623. Again, 4401 is now closed. In summation, don't forget, the Freedom Convoy, when Trudeau enacted the Emergencies Act, February 14th, 2022, those were UN troops in Ottawa. There's no disputing that. There's plenty of footage. The badge was right there. And those two planes that flew the troops in, they're registered to Klaus Schwab Incorporated, I'll just say. I mean, he's got so many corporations and everything. No disputing that, the planes or the UN troops. So in total summation, if we don't sign out of this WHO accord, pandemic accord, it'll be the UN troops at your door if you don't want to give up your property or whatever else